heart was heavier than the feather. The feather was called Ma'at, universal balance, harmony, and justice. If their heart was heavier than the feather, then they couldn't enter into the next realm. So he was the one who did the realm. This over here, these are myself, the skinny one, and my two sons, my twin sons with the muscles. Doing the same pose, called peaceful warrior pose. So it works with your spinal alignment, opening up your ankles and knees and your toes. Here we see a statue. This statue is from this picture is of a statue from the Aswan Museum in Aswan, Egypt. This is the same pose. Look at the close-up on the toes. They put a lot of effort into showing the detail of the toes bending. Okay? So the toes are bent at a 90-degree angle. And the toes are bent to that angle and stimulating these points on the bottom of the feet, these reflexology points. They correspond to some of the glands and systems in the brain that Brother Owens was talking about. So we see the pituitary gland, the pineal gland here, all corresponding to these points within the bottom of the feet. We see the eyes, the sinuses that control your ability to breathe properly. All are corresponding to those areas in the feet which are being stimulated by that particular movement. Now, this movement or this posture is called sesh pose. The word sesh means scribe, and the scribes were a type of priest who did all the writing. This is the position they would sit in when they would write. And when they sit in that position, they were stimulating those parts of those glands and structures in their brain that allowed them to have the ability to have the spiritual consciousness to create and say the things that they were saying, to interpret and pull information from the cosmos that they were able to put into the books and the texts that we are able to read to this day. So they sit in that position. And most of the time when people sit in that position, they start saying ooch and ouch, other things like that. But in ancient times, that's how women had a baby. They would sit down like this and have a baby like that. Get back up, and go do something else.
Right.
So, here we see from the ancestors doing reflexology. Everybody know what reflexology is? That's a science of working on the reflexology points in the bottom of the feet. Rubbing those points, massaging those points, stimulating those points in certain ways to help those organs become energized. And so here we see them working on the points in the foot and working on the points in the hand. They also invented manicures and pedicures. Now they call men who go get manicures and pedicures, what do you call it, heterosexual. But the ancestors, they invented that concept of keeping your nails and your toes and your feet clean and healthy, because your feet have all that stuff in it, all those points in it. Your feet need to be healthy. So it has nothing to do with being a metrosexual, whatever type of sexual. It has to do with being healthy. Up here is a picture, is an image that was taken from like a stone that they used to have in the Luxor Museum in a part of Egypt called Luxor. And that city is actually where we get the word luxury from. And you know about the Luxor Hotel and all that stuff in Las Vegas. But on that stone, you're seeing different yoga positions. You see the lotus position. You see the back bend. You see the cobra position. And right here, these two sisters here are doing pranic healing. They are generating and cultivating their energy and life force from within their bodies and using it and pulling it not only from their body but also pulling it from the cosmos and sending it into another person who they're trying to heal. And this healing was done where a person could be right there or a person could be 500 miles away. Because this whole concept of what we perceive as being time and space, like what Brother Moore and what Brother Wayne was saying earlier, those concepts of time and space, that's controlled by your brain. Your brain gives you this illusion of separation, this illusion of things called time and space. So when you go into meditation, you start to stimulate that pineal gland and get that vibration going. You start to dissolve those illusions of time and space and separation. And so we are doing these same positions over, these back bend positions, lotus position. Now, we see images from ancient Egypt, ancient Kemetic. This is an image from some people in West Africa, a group of people, a society who live in Liberia, West Africa. And they are like, within the concepts, like if you went to these people, you said, well, show me some yoga, they would say, we don't know what you're saying. We don't know nothing about yoga. Yoga is not an African word. But if you look at their faces very calm. They're not saying, ooch, ouch, I was laying when I didn't get out of this position. They're wearing certain colors, they're wearing certain things on their face. This is all part of a spiritual ritual that they're going through. So there's a brother wrote a book called The African Unconscious. What's the brother's name? Bible. Everybody used Bible. He wrote a book called The African Unconscious. And in his book, he documents how yoga and yoga is infused, the whole concept of yoga, the underlying concept of principles of yoga are infused throughout African and world culture. So these people, they're upside down in the lotus position, going into some deep meditation. So this is yoga in practice. This is yoga in application. But not using the word yoga, not going to a yoga class at the gym and doing something that is just really physical to say, I'm going to do this yoga so I can get my golf swing better and, make my jump shot better. There's nothing wrong with that. These people here, as part of a group in West Africa called the Serpent Society. In the Serpent Society, they believe that they can actually turn themselves into serpents and they do what you call shape shift. And I've seen a picture, which I can't find anymore, a picture where a person was in this position. See, this is the back bend with the feet going all the way back to the head here. And I seen a person in that position in the air, flying over a big knife. So a guy was holding a knife like this up in the air. This person was in that position going over it. Okay. So it's stuff that you see in Africa that it's like.
Hold on, I'm confused. Never explain it.
This is an image of a man sitting in the lotus position with a beard that you normally associate with ancient Egypt. This comes from the Congo